What is Grodd's favorite Christmas song?
Oh gosh. I don't know.
Keep guessing because I'm not ready for you yet.
Okay. Is it Jingle Grod?
You're pretty close on that, but that's not it.
Oh.
Keep
Oh.
guessing because okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Jungle Bells.
Jungle Bells. There you go.
Let me just say it's been rough on me because StreamYard moved something around a few weeks ago. So when I'm changing one thing, I have to get back to the other screen to find the intro, and always trying to find where to get back has been my bane of my existence lately. But welcome to the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. Welcome to Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. On behalf of Tim the Comic Collector and on behalf of ComicFoo 2814, we welcome you to today's show. And I say we because I'm joined by Signature King Tony. How are you today?
Good. Good. Had a busy last few days, so
Yeah,
and it's almost Thanksgiving. So
it is gobble gobble.
it's almost gobble gobble time, and looking forward to that. Looking forward to
Nice.
it.
Nice. Did you make it to LCS or any other comic stores?
Yeah, I did. I did make it to my LCS. I'm always like a week behind, so I finally picked up my new Absolute Superman.
I hear that's not getting the attention that it deserves.
Are any of them getting the attention they deserve?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people talked about the Batman and Wonder Woman one.
See, I haven't read the new Superman one, so I don't know, but
Okay.
I imagine it's just as good.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoy the Absolute series so far, so I'm excited.
Nice. We'll say hello to you if you're watching on the rewind. We certainly do appreciate it. I know that we have a bunch of people that aren't able to join us live during the show, but they do watch in the rewind. So if you're one of those, thanks for stopping by to watch tonight. First up in the live chat is John's Comics with Kids saying evening. And good evening to you. Hope you're doing well.
Yes.
So as we kind of segue into the DC Comics news portion, there's one thing that I'm so excited to talk to you about. I was so excited to talk to you specifically about this that I didn't even bring it up to you. Because sometimes we'll talk about something we might talk about in the private chat ahead of time. But I didn't bring it up on purpose because I wanted to save it for this moment. Do you have any idea what it could be?
I haven't the slightest idea what it could be.
Okay. I know that you are not a fan of the facsimile comic books.
Mm-hmm.
There is a facsimile that's just been announced that I'm wondering if you'll buy. What do you think?
Oh, geez. I'm going to pass.
So, first appearance of John Constantine, a comic book that you occasionally get teased about, not owning,
Yeah.
is coming out, has been announced as coming out as a facsimile. However, there's going to be a variant cover for it.
Oh.
Are you ready for this?
I'm interested in the variant.
Let's see if this will change your mind. There you go.
Oh, man. That's too funny. I like it. I like that
I
one.
do like those variant covers that look like the action figures because they
They should
really
just
do
make
look
the
real.
action figure. Yeah. Just make the action figure. I think it's funny. I like it. I still don't think it's enough to put me over the hump to buy it,
Okay.
but I can see why a lot of people might.
Okay. So, Saga of Swamp Thing 37 Facsimile Edition will be coming out February 12th. And does have that superpowers variant that I told you about. Other facsimiles that have been announced, Batman number 610 coming out on February 12th. Batman 611 coming out on February 19th. Crisis on Infinite Earths, as they've been continuing that 12-part series, issue 11 facsimile, scheduled for February 19th. And then there is one more classic cover to show you. And if I say to you, Tech Comics, Detective Comics number 31 from the Golden Age, do you know without looking what cover that would be?
Yeah, 37. You said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
31. I'm sorry, 31.
31.
Yeah.
I think I know what cover that is.
Is it this one?
Yes.
Yep, that's coming out as a facsimile as well.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, which of course is a very classic cover.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of people give that credit for like when Batman started to be less silly and more serious in comics.
Yep.
Not necessarily, James West, but
Sure, February 5th is the scheduled release date for that. So,
very nice.
yeah.
I guess I look like Jughead, huh?
Yeah. I got a little bit.
Yes, I'll take it. Hey, any recognition I can get, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Sold.
So there's a new Green Lantern in Los Angeles.
Yes, the statue.
Yes, he's 7 foot tall.
Yeah, John Stewart.
And it's
the bronze...
John Stewart. Now, do you think that 2814 Foo is a Furry is pissed? I do.
I would say disappointed Hal didn't get it, but happy that there's some kind of recognition for it. If you recall, they did a Batman bronze statue not long ago, and they had a comic that went with it. You could not buy the comic; you had to win it.
Yes, they did the same thing with the Wonder Woman one too. Broke my freaking heart.
And I guarantee you, they're going to do it with this one.
Broke my freaking heart.
Oh, I'm sure. I mention it because someone in our community won a Batman Burbank one.
Oh, really?
And it was, I think Jim Lee did the cover.
Yeah.
And they got Jim Lee to sign it on, by chance, Batman Day. And Jim Lee wrote Happy Batman Day on the book as he signed it. And I got to see it close up. Dang it. It's gorgeous, and I wish I had it.
For those wondering what the statue looks like and what it's based out of, here you go.
Someday I'm going to pilgrim to all these statues.
But do you know, interestingly enough, they don't have a Superman one yet.
I'm sure that one's going to be legendary.
I think that will come when the movie drops next year. I'm calling that right now, saying that's when I think that will happen.
Man, that is a mighty nice looking statue.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
White Tiger, cool, calm, collected. Ruben Guzman, Ruby G is here with us. Muabunga to you, and hope you've had a nice weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What news do you have to share?
Two big ones. And I'm going to skip this guy's name only because I'm going to butcher it and it sounds like garbage. The gentleman who played Blue Beetle. I don't recall how do you pronounce his name. Xolo?
Is it Yolo?
Very possible. I don't know. Okay. He's reprising his role as Blue Beetle, which is but the catch is it's animated.
Oh, okay.
So I imagine it's probably going to be Creature Commandos.
Could be.
That's my best educated guess. Creature Commandos, possibly featuring Blue Beetle. So look forward to that. And the other one was a Green Lanterns casting. They've been doing casting for this show left and right. And they casted or did cast. I don't know how to say this name. I'm going to put it in the chat here for those of you who are interested.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Poriana something. Anyway, she's been cast in Lanterns, and her role is undisclosed at this time. She's rumored to play John Stewart's or John McDonald's or Hal Jordan's love interest, Sheriff Kelly. I've never heard of that character. That's news to me. I have no idea. So be on the lookout for her. I wish Fu was here. He can give us a little more insight on this character.
Yeah. He's still on his furry tour.
Yeah, he's still on tour. Get your tickets now before they sell out.
Yeah.
But she's known for her role in Never Have I Ever, another show that I have not heard of. Either
We could have fun playing a comic book version of Never Have I Ever.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. So, yeah. Are you excited for Lanterns? Okay, all right. I'm a
I'll
Green
watch it.
Lantern fan.
I'm sure. Right now, I'm just a little burnout in just comic book franchise movies, TV shows overall.
I'm not. I'll never be burnt. I've been excited since Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight.
Okay.
So I've been rearing to go ever since. Got really excited for Shazam. I got really excited for Black Adam. Then I was really disappointed. Don't even get me started about that. But yeah, here we are. This show was it was dead for a while, and then we weren't sure if it was coming back. And then once James Gunn put his schedule out of upcoming stuff, this one was back on the slate. But now we actually have confirmed casting. I'm very excited for it. But Tom King is also writing for this show, so don't know how I feel about that. No offense to Tom King, but if I could pick a comic book talent to come and write Green Lanterns, you know who I'd pick?
Geoff Johns.
Geoff Johns.
Mm-hmm.
Geoff Johns, who pretty much gave Green Lantern its life back. I think it would be a great nod to get him back on the helm of Green Lantern. But he's off doing his own thing at Ghost Machine. But man, it would be awesome to get Geoff Johns. Even if it was just like half a season, I would take it.
We'll say hello to Glenn, who's joining us. Should he stay or should he go into share mode and turn back time?
You should continue to watch the live stream and on your phone stream last week's episode.
Oh, double fanboy.
And if you have AirPods, just listen to both at the same time. That's what I would do. Listen to both at the same time.
We had a good retro review last week.
We did.
Yeah.
Do
you remember what it was?
No, I don't remember.
Superman.
That's right. Yeah. We did Superman. I was thinking it was Chibab, but that was a couple weeks ago.
That was a couple weeks ago.
But
congratulations to you and your channel, by the way, as it continues to grow.
Oh yeah, like it's still trucking. I've only put out, like 1 or 2 shorts. I'm still riding that tidal wave. It just keeps climbing. I don't know what it is, whether it's like when you, me, and Shiba were talking backstage, anything with the word Superman, I guess, just explodes. So I'm riding that wave. Just hit 1100, and then I woke up this morning and I was at 1105.
Wow. Hello to Kenneth Bird, who stopped by. He's a Superman for us.
Yeah. Love seeing your shirts, Tony. What, this one?
You might be talking about last week's.
Yeah. I didn't have time.
Superman
shorts.
Shirts, huh?
Shorts. Okay.
Shorts. That makes more sense.
Way more sense. Yes, I appreciate it. I'm just kind of experimenting, just kind of seeing what works. Not all of them are hits, obviously. I've only had one just really explode. But it's a lot of fun. Now we just got to spread the word to get Mr. Magic Lasso up to that magic 1K. We have to. I should take a billboard ad out with a QR
Thank you.
code.
I appreciate that.
But I don't know how safe that is if people are driving, trying to scan a QR code. Probably not a good idea.
Probably.
No, your autograph shorts. Yeah. I get it. I knew what you meant. Autograph shorts. Good news, there's a lot of them. So that's always fun.
Nice.
And some things around the office have changed. I won't go into big detail, but as I'll do a quick pan here. You can see my big black locker is gone. It has been replaced. You can kind of see it right back here. New file cabinet. So I haven't moved any books really into it yet, except the top row. Just trying to make some space. There are pros and cons to this particular file cabinet. And we'll get to that, during our what's coming up on our channel, where I do a deep dive into this. Did I pick the wrong cabinet? We'll find out.
Okay.
Time will tell. But yeah, as for news, that's really all I have. I don't have anything crazy
I don't have a whole lot either.
Yeah.
So you picked tonight's retro review. We're going to do the first 2 issues of Forever Evil. Tell us why you chose that.
Oh man, lots of reasons. One, I think this is my favorite villain-focused DC story of all time. For a lot of reasons. But it's kind of nice to see some people working together. I don't want to ruin the story. There's people that are starting to work together because they have to, not because they want to. It is an interesting story to see those teams that don't work together normally work together. Like Batman and Black Adam. When was the last time they teamed up? I know they just did recently, but at the time of this book, I don't think they ever have. So, and the way they did Bizarro in here was pretty funny. So I like it.
So I liked the choice on this. I started getting my Forever Evil, a few issues from that I got from a Comic Jabroni mystery box. So right there, that holds special sentimental value.
Yeah.
Comic Jabroni Nation. And then I started filling in some of the ones, like I got almost half of them just in that one mystery box. And then I started filling in here and there at some half-price books. I found some issues. I have everything but issue 1 right now, which I will get because it's not a hard book to find.
It's everywhere.
To find or anything. I'll get it just to make sure I complete it. But I've enjoyed everything that I've read that had to do with this. Now, I'm going to kick us off with a review on issue 1, but does this cover not remind you a little bit of that Crisis on Infinite Earths cover that George Perez did with all the villains?
Yes.
Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it really reminds me of. This is David Finch doing the art on this one. So, kind of giving us
fabulous cover.
Yeah, a little preview of what's to come.
And here's the variant was just, they changed the background.
Yep.
Very fun.
So Lex Luthor is recalling the time he saved a cat from a tree. It was his sister's cat. And he reached out to the animal. The animal lashed out at him and scratched him, so he threw it into the river. And he says, I didn't understand. I was only trying to save it. And we see Luthor's talking to someone. He's in his helicopter, and he's talking to someone. And who he's talking to, we're finding out, is the head of... He is the head of Cord Industries, and he wants to buy the company out for them. And the guy isn't interested in selling. He talks about the family legacy that goes on with it. And he says, I'm going to pay you twice as much as what it's worth in cash. And he's like, but it's not, Cord Industries is my family. I don't want to sell it. And he's like, well, do you know that people sometimes fall out of helicopters? And he's like, hey, wait a minute. Are you saying what I think you're saying? He's like, well, accidents happen. He says, so you're telling me that if I don't sell this company to me, you're going to throw me out of the helicopter. And he says, no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not threatening you. I'm threatening your entire family. So he's making that perfectly clear. And then he talks about how in the wake of your unfortunate death, he'll dissolve the company. All the employees' pensions will be gone. How your family will spiral into this wave of bad luck, and your son will turn into an addict and end up on the streets, and how he'll introduce your wife to a wonderful man who will break her heart and leave her the day that your son overdoses and dies. He's like, I've seen it before. It's going to happen. And right at that moment, we see like this crash on the instrument panel on the helicopter. And the helicopter starts spiraling out of control, and they're yelling for Mayday, Mayday, and that they're going down. And Luthor's yelling, pull up, you idiot, pull up, pull up, pull up. And then all of a sudden, as you'll see on the next page, they crash right into LexCorp, on the side of LexCorp. And you're like, what the heck is going on? So Luthor has survived the crash. He's now inside the LexCorp building. His phone falls out, and he briefly sees a little message that says, "The world is ours." And Metropolis has gone dark, someone reports. And then they say Gotham is the next to go offline. And we'll have worldwide power and communications control within the hour. So you're like, okay, something is up here. So now we have Nightwing, who's headed back into Gotham, and he's been tracked by Batgirl. It's who he's talking to. And he's like, hey, I'm just here to drop off this dude, and I'm headed back to Chicago. And he's going to Arkham Asylum. And as he climbs the gates and gets there, he notices, all this catastrophe and this noise, and on comms with Barbara, he hears "the world is ours," and it's really loud, and he's screaming. He doesn't know what's going on. He can't reach Batgirl now anymore. And then he sees that there's someone standing outside of Arkham who says, well, this is Arkham. It's a prison. How strange. And they reach their hands in and just rip the door off. And Nightwing is like, we got major trouble. I don't know who it is, but they just rip the door open with their bare hands. I'm going in to see if I can find out what it is. And he instantly gets attacked, and he at first thinks it's Batman who's attacked him. And they're like, who is he? And someone says, well, they call him Nightwing here. And it looks like a golden lasso going around his neck as it reaches back and starts to yank him back. We now cut back to Lex Luthor inside the LexCorp tower. There's the head of Cord Industries. He's hanging on. He's like, help me. I can't hang on much longer. Please help me. And he turns around and he says, oh, quit whining. And he looks up and he's like, oh, it's Superman. He's like, well, Superman will come over and save the day. That's just what he does. And Superman flies by, lets the guy fall, and ends up at this outside the doors where there is a vault, and just rips the vault open, throws the vault doors out. Luthor is watching this just in shock as he sees Superman pick up this green kryptonite. Now we're going to cut over to Central City. We're outside of Iron Heights, and Flash's Rogues Gallery is there, minus one particular member who is inside. It's the Trickster, and they are going to break him out. And some of them are wondering amongst themselves, why are we doing this? He's like, hey, he's been in there for 2 weeks. He's learned his lesson, and rogues take care of one another no matter what. So that's why they're breaking him out. When all of a sudden, another big explosion. It looks like a speedster's come through who's laughing all the way, and they don't know who it is. Is it the Flash? That's what they're wondering. And turns out, no, it's someone who's being called Johnny. And they realize at this point, Captain Cold does, it is not the Flash. Now it's time to cut over to another famous prison in the DC universe, the Belle Reve prison in Louisiana. And we have Black Manta, who's being talked to by Amanda Waller, who wants him as part of the Suicide Squad. And he says, hey, I know there is no other mission. It's always, you do this, now you have to do another mission, and you never go free. She's like, well, what do you want then? He's like, the only thing I want is the death of Aquaman. All of a sudden, another big explosion. They look up. There's someone that almost appears from a shadow distance to look like Firestorm, perhaps. And they're telling Black Manta there's nothing to be scared of. It's our world now. We cut back to Lex Luthor, who's with this man that he believes looks like it's Superman, but is it? Who's taking this kryptonite, essentially crushing it, using his heat vision to snort it. And then he feels more powerful than ever. He says, I'm the strongest again. And Luthor is completely shocked, and then looks at his chest insignia and realizes it doesn't have the traditional S, it has the U. So we're talking about UltraMan. And UltraMan now is looking for other kryptonite, and he doesn't want anyone else to know. There's that same message on a tablet. This world is ours. It's all of ours. We'll cut over to a collection of villains that are gathering now. Some that we've seen in the story and some that we haven't, that have been approached, and they've been given these coins. Silver coins that are communication devices, and they're the only communication devices that seem to be working in the world right now. And they're kind of questioning where they came from, while other people are saying, what does it matter? You know, whoever's putting the secret society together, we know Batman and the Justice League is going to stop them. They say, no, they won't. They're, you know, it's Scarecrow saying that, and Two-Face is like, well, how do we know that? How can we trust them? And they're asking Two-Face if he's in or out, and he flips the coin to decide that he is in. They're at the abandoned watchtower, which has crashed down into Earth in Happy Harbor, Rhode Island. Of course, that's where the original JLA cave was. And there is a full collection of villains inside. Take a look at that. You got so many, you even got Giganta in there too.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Another one that kind of reminds me of like an interior page from the Crisis on Infinite Earths series.
There's even a few in there. I'm not sure, who they are.
Yeah, there's some I don't know either, but I mean, there's others, that I recognize and weren't shown in part of the story. I even see Harley there easily too. So the villains are talking. They're like, hey, we're inside the Justice League headquarters. Whoever did this must have torn it right out of the sky. And then someone else is questioning what's Amanda Waller going to think when she finds out we joined a new team, Deadshot. And he says, well, she's smart. She'll hide. Despero's there. And they're talking about... Penguin's talking about the fact that Joker has to be here somewhere. He's just wearing someone else's face. And he's going to start trouble. The Maniac hates any type of structure. And Bane says if the Joker starts anything, I will break him the way Batman should have. Rod doesn't like being summoned by humans, neither does Cheetah, but she says let's give him a chance to speak. And they're starting to fight amongst themselves a little bit, especially when Trickster goes and touches Deadshot. And all of a sudden we see this trident thrown down. And they're like, it's Aquaman's trident. And Black Manta says, it's mine. And he tosses Cheetah Wonder Woman's lasso. And then there's Superman's cape that he hands over, and there's some fighting going on between the cape. And then someone yells, there will be no discord among us. This world is ours. And the Justice League is dead. Hell yes, they are. And there we have the Crime Syndicate from Earth 3. They are the evil version of the Justice League of America. They're the ones who've called everyone together. They are the ones that have sent this message out and have been essentially taking over the world and the world's communications. They introduce themselves Owlman, Superwoman, Power Ring, Deathstorm, Johnny Quick, and Atomica. And they say we're the Crime Syndicate. We came from another world. We ruled that world until they turned against us, so we destroyed it. We're looking for another world to conquer, and we have chosen this one. And they say we've killed the Justice League, and some people are like this is some type of a trick. And I believe it's Monocle says the Justice League isn't dead. They're right here. And as he's starting to speak, Ultraman has had enough of any type of back talk to him or anything. So he uses his heat vision on the next panel. You'll see that he just completely kills him right there. And they're like, oh, this isn't the Justice League. No, it isn't. And they reiterate, the Crime Syndicate does, that the world is theirs. Pledge your allegiance to us and it can be your world too. Those who question us or fight us will face consequences. So we're now cutting over to the Teen Titans who've heard this message and they wonder if the Justice League is really dead or not. And Ultraman orders Superwoman to grab a hold of the captured Teen Titans that they have. They grab Robin and she lassos him, yanks him by the hair and says, on your feet, cutie pie. And they're like, oh my God, they've even taken care of Nightwing too, because they see him. And then she does something that I thought was pretty brazen. She unmasks him and reveals him to be Richard Grayson. And here we see this being revealed on TV for the world to see. Batgirl's like, Dick? And Richard Grayson. Who the hell is Richard Grayson? And there's all this shock going on. And they're talking about, you think that Owlman would try to protect Grayson considering. Well, he says this is just a copy of Owlman's former partner, Power Ring, and a weaker version of that. And Superwoman says Grayson has many friends in many places he calls home. And Owlman says, we know them all. Ultraman says, we will hunt and destroy everything this Richard Grayson cares about. All who would oppose us, you risk not only your lives, but the lives of those you cherish. Your family, friends, and neighbors will die while you watch. But you are our allies, our secret society, our army. We've watched your world. It's a world very different from our own, a world that wastes its time protecting the weak. Your world fights against the most basic rule of evolution, natural selection. So he says, the destitute are winning, but the war is not over. He says, you are the strongest that there is. You were given your power for a reason. And as we're cutting all the way through of prisons with the supervillains escaping everywhere, you will join us and we'll take this world together, forever evil. And UltraMan proclaims it's begun, now we prepare for, and then he realizes the dawn is starting to set and the sun, it hurts him. And he says, it's been so long, I almost forgotten, it stings. Now we're starting to get a flashback to the very beginning of the story. With Luthor talking, it's funny. I thought about that cat over the years, about whether or not I should have jumped in after it. And he's like, that stupid cat caught up in a tree. And what UltraMan has done is move the moon to eclipse the sun, so it's not going to siphon any of his powers. And Lex Luthor is witnessing this, saying, well, this is a job for Superman. So on the very last page he adds, so where the hell is he? And that's how issue 1 ends.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Let me pop up issue 2 here. All right. Continuing on. This is perspective of Lex Luthor. He says, we've always had a rat problem down here. Although they aren't very smart, you see a rat springing the trap. And he's in LexCorp headquarters, sub-level 13. So he's way down there. And he sees the same thing. This world is ours. This world is ours. Finally gets to where he's going and runs into one of his own security guards, who he doesn't recognize, but the security guard recognizes him. And Luthor's trying to give him like a vague explanation of what's happening. And he says, oh, that explains why it's all over the screens and on the phones. And the Titans are in the same boat. And they're suiting up. And their goal is to go and rescue Nightwing. Everyone is very uneasy about this. But, Robin is just like, we don't really have a choice. We're going to go save Nightwing. Let's go. We cut to Gotham, and it's just anarchy. Everyone is killing everybody, wrecking whatever they want, causing all kinds of mayhem. And then we catch up to Grid, who's talking about the eclipse and its kind of effect on the population and what's going on around them. But yeah, we have a very interesting map here of all the villains and what they're doing. And he's saying that the military law enforcement doesn't really have any control because they can't fight, the Crime Syndicate and all the localized small villains at the same time. So they're completely overwhelmed. And everyone in Gotham saw the moon move. And they're saying, how the heck did he move the moon? They want the whole city leveled. All that good stuff. And we cut over to Washington, D.C. We see 2 unknown figures sneaking up to the White House. We cut over to the Crime Syndicate, and they're in the old crashed Justice League headquarters. And they're talking about, how they got here. Excuse me. Well, yeah, they're talking about how they got here, what needs to happen further. And they're just kind of reminiscing about life on their own world. Meanwhile, we cut over to Power Ring and Deathstorm. And Power Ring does not want this ring on at all. But Power Ring, who we will learn later on, has its own name as Vol Thum. If you recall our previous retro review of Justice League 3000, I think it was. I don't recall. Many years ago. And Deathstorm says, nope, 1 more week. Then we could talk about you taking that thing off. But Superman has to go out and hunt down more heroes and let more supervillains free. So he suggests that Lex Luthor, or not Lex Luthor, but Alfred Pennyworth from his Earth the Crime Syndicate, which is Earth 3, stay here and watch Dick Grayson, and which is kind of bizarre. Yeah. It's interesting to see their perspective and how they're going to deal with these heroes. Well, as the story progresses here, they've captured Nightwing and Dick Grayson, and a lot of the Crime Syndicate don't really care that they've captured Dick Grayson, but Owlman, he's kind of torn. I don't want to spoil any future issues, but they had a chance to kill Nightwing, Dick Grayson, but how they ended up at the conclusion to not kill him is very unique, and Owlman played a huge role in that. So UltraMan heads off to Kahndaq, home of Black Adam, and Owlman entrusts Alfred Pennyworth to make sure he stays secured. And then we have a brief scene between Superwoman and Owlman, and it's revealed that Superwoman is with child and Owlman is the father. And they just want to create a better world for the child. We cut back to Lex Luthor in his corporation, and he's got like a person in a jar. And what's all that about? He needed 5 more years to incubate this thing, but he doesn't really have the option. Long story short, we cut back to the Justice League headquarters where the Crime Syndicate is holding up, and they have the place surrounded, the military, the police. And as they get ready to open fire, Johnny Quick comes out, and he's able to round up all their bullets and throw them all back like a big machine gun. But just in time, the Teen Titans show up, and Johnny Quick isn't quite sure who they're supposed to be, so Atomica fills him in and says, they're really nothing but children. We cut back to Lex Luthor, and he is, birthing his monster, which we now know is Bizarro, and he gives, kind of like testing the ability to comprehend and process orders. He tells Bizarro to kill the security guard. The security guard's like, that's messed up. And the security guard shoots Bizarro. And he's very, very concerned for a second, that he got shot, then doesn't really care. Eventually he just goes after the security guard and kills him. And we cut back to the Teen Titans, and we have this scene. I believe this is Terra, a version of Terra. I don't recall. And Atomica goes down her throat while Kid Flash and Johnny Quick fight. And it doesn't end well. They open up the Earth 3 version of a boom tube, and Terra and Kid Flash end up getting sucked through it, which is kind of interesting. We cut back to Lex Luthor, and he's getting his armor on, and he gave Bizarro like a makeshift homemade Superman suit, but it's inside out, so the S appears to be backwards, which I thought was pretty funny. So we cut over to Detroit at the Star Labs, and they're trying to work on their own type of boom tube. And here we have Bruce Wayne and Victor Stone, or Catwoman, Selena Kyle carrying Victor Stone, and said, "Hey, listen, your son, he needs your help. You fixed him before. Do it again, or he dies," kind of thing. And that kind of wraps up issue 2 of Forever Evil.
Yep, which of course they made like a really big event with that, with crossover titles in each individual title. I think that was published at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts and grades on the first 2 issues that we did?
A plus, 10 out of 10. I love this story. I love Geoff Johns. I love David Finch. The art was amazing. Again, this is one of my all-time favorites. So my opinion is probably a little biased, but I'm okay with it.
I'm going to do 9.5 out of 10. Enjoyed it. It's kind of like they refer to Secret Society a few times. I've always been a fan of Secret Society supervillains, which, I've picked several times in different forms for retro reviews on previous shows. So it was fun to go back. Like I said, I wouldn't be buying the rest of the comic books if I didn't enjoy what I read and just had that one issue 1 yet to pick up, which sometime in 2025, I'm sure I'll add into the collection. So it was a fun pick. So
it's a great story that had a lot of implications from it.
Yeah.
One of the long-term implications is Captain Cold and Lex Luthor actually joined the Justice League.
Really? I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, from where we are now to where that happens, it's a long while. There's no way we get there.
Yeah.
But if you see that, there's a poster they made out of it. It's Lex Luthor in his armor, and instead of an L, he has an S, where he becomes essentially Superman, the Earth Superman. And they allow Captain Cold. The only reason they allow Captain Cold to join the Justice League is because of this event right here, Forever Evil. He actually helped save the day. And his argument was like, listen, I saved the world too. Aren't I part of the Justice League now? It kind of gets him on a technicality, and then let him join. And in that run of the Justice League, all the way kind of towards the end, when Captain Cold's still running the Justice League, he's calls someone on his cell phone and says, listen, I'm about to pull off the biggest heist we've ever done in history. And, kind of gives you this, like, what is Captain Cold thinking? It turns out
a double cross.
Yeah, a triple cross. Triple cross, because the Justice League thought, they heard it and they thought he was going to rip them off, but he actually turns around and robs Lex Luthor.
Oh, wow.
Of a lot of money and technology, which I thought was pretty
No
fun.
honor among thieves.
No honor among thieves. No, sir. But yeah, that's kind of the future what happens. I think that's probably close to 50 issues from where we are right now. So quite a long time before you got to that point. But it's still worth the read. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens between then and now. So
nice.
And a lot of stuff that still has implications up until this recent Absolute run. So
yeah,
it's very cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, great story.
Yeah, it was fun to go back and enjoy.
Absolutely it is.
So we'll move on to the book show and talk about what's going on our channel. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, for my book show, I love this story so much, and I was going to meet Geoff Johns, and I knew I was going to get him to sign this book. But I didn't want him to sign just a regular cover A. So I went and I tracked down the New York Comic Con 2013 exclusive Forever Evil #1, signed by Geoff Johns in silver. And it is beautiful. So I was very happy to get this book signed. Yes, great book. What's coming up on the channel? Lots of stuff. I just got to film it, mostly being shorts. And then we talk about the new file cabinet and where I got it. Spoiler, I paid nothing for this, so that was kind of fun. And I've noticed a lot of problems with it. And I'll talk about that. You got your money's worth. So yeah, I definitely got my money's worth out of it. So stay tuned for that if you're curious to learn about all things file cabinet.
Okay. So for my channel, what's on the channel already is my back issue of the week YouTube short. 60 seconds about a back issue that's in my collection, and it was back issue of the week, episode 150. So I did Amazing Spider-Man issue 150 to tie the two of them together. And then Tuesday's video, this past Tuesday, it was part 1 of my friend Andre from Brazil spent some time with me here in the US, and he AOK'd me. But in the first part of the video, you, Tony, actually AOK'd him by surprise. So
yeah, and him and I have spoke since then too.
Oh, so good. I know he mentioned that he was going to reach out to you. So
yeah,
well, that's great. So that's part 1, and all that stuff is currently on my channel right now. Let me tell you what's coming to my channel. Tomorrow, another back issue of the week YouTube short, 60 seconds, about a DC Comics book, a Bronze Age DC comic book. And I'll tell you this. It probably is the first comic book I ever mail ordered for in my life. So there's some memories, sentimental attachments, and I wanted it because of the cover, but ended up enjoying the story too. So that will be in tomorrow's back issue of the week YouTube short. On Tuesday is part 2 of my A-OK with Andre in studio. Now, Signature King, did you see in the video where I gave a little preview of what was coming? Did you see that type of reaction I had? I said, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Something happened that made me not be able to breathe.
He punched you right in the gut.
In a way, yeah. In a way.
An emotional punch in the gut.
Yeah. So find out what exactly caused that in the video.
I'm curious. I'm very curious.
I still don't know if I've mentally accepted this of what has happened or not. And I mean, I've had some time to process this, and I still don't know if I've mentally accepted this. So
is it comic book related?
Sure is.
Okay.
So
yeah, I couldn't even begin to speculate, And
every YouTuber, it goes without saying, wants your videos to be watched and people to enjoy them. This video that's coming on Tuesday, I hope gets so many views because it deserves it. It's something that I don't know any other YouTube comic book community member who has this. Or even right now said, well, I'll go get one if they would be successful in getting one. So let's just throw that out there. For a book show, I do have the first appearance of the Crime Syndicate, but I'm going to show their second appearance because this is a pretty cool cover. Justice League of America, issue number 30. Got a nice, colorful copy here for a Silver Age book. And I thought that would be a fun book show to share tonight.
Yeah, that's a beautiful cover.
Yeah. And if you would like to share a cover with us, your own little version of the book show, go on Instagram, post what you'd like. If you want to show some DC supervillain love or Forever Evil or anything, any of the characters we talked about tonight, or just whatever you want to share DC related, go ahead and do that on Instagram. Just use the hashtag FanboysLive and the Retro Review. That will help us make sure that we see your post. So that would be pretty awesome. And, Barbarian is here. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Tony, anything else that you want to talk about, or?
Yeah, lots I want to talk about, but we just don't have that kind of time.
We don't. But it was fun with the time that we had tonight.
Yes, I'm very curious to your second part of your time with Andre. So I know I'm going to be tuning in for that.
It was something. It was.
Yeah. It's always nice to meet people in our little community. And it's double interesting because he comes from a part of the world where it's different. Like collecting comics is very different in that part of the world.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to get his perspective. And was this his first time in the States, or he had been before?
And he's been in the States a few times before.
Okay.
I've met him before. So this wasn't even my first time meeting him. I met him in Chicago in 2019.
Okay.
In person. So it wasn't,
it's still fun to hang out.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I mean, even our first time hanging out back then was like we had hung out 1,000 times before. And literally when he showed up, it was just like, you just pick right up, There's none of that awkward stuff. You just pick right on up. So, and those are always the best type of friendships, I think, to have. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, hanging out with community members is a lot of fun. And every time I get the rare chance to do it, I treasure every moment.
So there's one thing that I'll say that, and I talk a little bit about this in the video too. There's one thing that I was certain that he brought me. And did he or didn't he is the question.
He did.
Then another thing that I thought, well, there's probably a good, strong chance that he did. I'll go ahead and say that he didn't on this one. I thought he would bring me some of the Brazilian ISIS comic books.
Oh.
And I think there were 3 different issues over there of ISIS from, the Secrets of ISIS TV, Shazam ISIS Hour. And they don't have different covers than the US, but he knows that I'm a fan. But he said those are kind of hard to find. And I don't know. That was kind of in the back of my mind, like, well, that could be something that he would bring me because he would know I would enjoy it. He didn't bring any of those. I'll go ahead and just say that right now. But oh my gosh, I hope people will really tune in to see. And the current video, I think, is like 2 views away from 100 views right now. I'd certainly like to get it at 100, if not more. So, which should be achievable when it's 2 views away.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't even imagine, what it could be. And
I'll say this.
It was fun watching your reaction to the things that, in this first part, it's fun to see how you reacted to some of the other stuff.
So there's this reaction, and I'm fine. And then I ask him something, and how he answered what I asked him changed everything.
How he answered. Okay.
His answer to my question changed everything. And you can literally see me process that answer on my face, and I just don't know if I've come to terms even with that answer yet. So
wow, man, crazy.
Oh no, not them. Not them. No. We don't support anything like that on my channel.
Almighty Isis.
Yeah, Almighty Isis, the Egyptian goddess, is who we're talking about. So
Black Adam's wife.
Yeah, Black Adam's wife.
Interesting. Well, stay tuned for that, everybody, because if you're anything like me, I'm very
we can
curious.
talk more about that, next week.
Which
so
video
Glenn,
is
the first part is out already, and that's my Comic Book Editions Volume 219 video. Or 218 video, excuse me, 218. That's on my channel right now. It says A-OK from Andre in Brazil, part 1. What we've been talking about with this reaction, with this thing, is the video that will be coming out on Tuesday afternoon, which is part 2. And filmed at the same time that Andre was with me. So that's what's coming.
Now, does he do any real YouTube stuff?
Not YouTube. He posts on Instagram.
Instagram, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I'm excited for that. Very excited for that.
Like I said, next weekend we can talk much more about all of that. So,
and it's talking about the stuff that you did get on this current episode. I want to put that video right here.
Oh, thank you.
In the chat here, if anybody is interested. It's right there. Yeah, you got a lot of Snoopy stuff. I didn't realize you're a big Peanuts guy.
Love that beagle. the Black Orchid item, like, really intrigued me. Hey there, Carlito. Hope you're doing well. We're getting ready to say goodbye to you. So hi and bye to you. Because who would think that Brazil would have a Black Orchid item? There's not really Black Orchid items in the U.S.,
Yeah. Boy, one of the things that I did, especially when I was in the Army, I lived in Europe for a while, is I would go to comic book stores in different countries. And every country is different what their interpretation of a comic book was.
Mm-hmm.
Some were really close. Some weren't even remotely similar. So I'm like, oh, that's a comic book, but it's a freaking omnibus and it's like this thick. Like, that's not quite a comic book, but just to see how other cultures interpret comic books. And then I went to India and looked at Indian comic books, and I was even close to what I thought a comic book was.
Really?
But yeah, I grabbed a little bit from what I could from other countries. So I don't think I have anything from Brazil. I have lots of stuff in Portuguese from Portugal, but nothing Portuguese from Brazil. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seem to have, obviously, I have a lot of Brazilian stuff and Portuguese stuff more because of Andre. And then I have a lot of stuff, a lot of German stuff from Varangian Vigilante. And, but I don't, I have a little Mexico, I have a little Canadian. I don't have much from Australia because the shipping from Australia is just insane.
Yeah, they got to strap a young man onto a shark and float it over here. So sometimes doesn't go well.
Yeah. I have I have I don't have a trade collection, but I bought some of the World's Finest title, some individual floppies, and I have like the Trinity World's Finest special that came out. What about you, Tony?
I don't have any of those.
Okay.
I don't really do
very
trades.
good title. Mark Waid's on that, and it's Superman and Batman, and they've had a lot of guest stars in there too. And
I would love to do trades, but unfortunately, space is a huge contributing obstacle for me. So I am quickly running out of room. So if I run out of room with this file cabinet, I got to think of. I'm going to be desperate. I'm like cutting my desk in half. I got a big L shape, but I have to get rid of chunk of it.
I used to remember when the doggy would walk in the room. Now there's no room for the doggy.
The dog could still walk in here, but she wouldn't be able to hang out very well.
Yeah.
It's very cramped. So the part that she liked to lay is gone now.
Yeah.
I even have stuff under the desk. I'm running out of space under my desk. So this room is packed. Starting to feel like Tim.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim with the short boxes and long boxes.
Yeah, he's always doing this, and he's probably doing his. I imagine him doing his retro review every week or something like this.
Yeah.
Trade dropped and just like I don't. There's some at
I haven't got that yet.
Ollie's Bargain Bin has lots of those, but
as I told you, we're getting an Ollie's in my town.
When is that open next year?
Don't know.
Maybe?
All I know is I have drove past and they don't have paper up over the window so you can see into the store. There's not one single thing, not even an empty shelf set up in there yet. Just a sign on the building saying coming. And I can't wait.
That's fun. Hopefully your Ollie's is better than my dumpster fire Ollie's. Even though Ollie's started in my town, and in my opinion, we have the absolute worst one. It's so dirty and dark, and the comic books are great, but someone ripped open the top and took all the good issues out of the mystery packs.
I'm going to be in that store first day it opens, so I'm going to get the first pick of the litter here.
They got quite a bit. Their selection is great.
I love omnibuses. I'm not going to lie. I really like them, so I'm excited about adding some more into my collection at a nice price, too. Because from what I'm told, you can get like a MSR $100 omnibus there for like $35.
My advice to you is sign up for their little membership card. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Because you get a one-time purchase of 25% off.
Okay.
So before you go spend a bunch of bucks on some omnibuses,
That's
go
a
sign
good
up
idea,
and get that coupon first.
Yeah.
Save yourself some bucks. Wish
sure.
I would have known that.
Yeah.
Man. Well, good luck with that. Hopefully you enjoy some Ollies.
I don't know if it will. I mean, I can't. There's no way. Well, I would think there would be no way they could be open before the holiday. We're about to hit the big holiday season, and there's literally nothing, not even a shelf in that store. But who knows? Maybe. I mean, I put together an entire store in 6 days, so you had enough labor, you can do it.
Yeah.
The store's empty. There's just a sign on the door that says "Deliveries, please use back entrance." That's it.
One of my favorite things about Ollie's is when you take little shopping carts, little baskets. It's from a different store every time.
Oh, really?
I've had Toys R Us. I've had Babies R Us. I've had
interesting. I didn't know that.
Kmart. I've had Sears.
Wow. So that's where those went to die.
Yeah, they went to Ollie's.
Huh.
I'm half tempted to just check out and keep my basket and go home.
Yeah, as a little souvenir.
Especially from Toys R Us. From Toys R Us.
Does it have a giraffe?
It does. It's got the Jeffrey giraffe that has those sunglasses, like looking down.
Yeah.
Over sunglasses says big Toys R Us logo.
Nice.
And I'm just like, man, it'd be worth it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've watched the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the live chat. Thank you to those who watched on the rewind. We look forward to visiting with you again next week. Until then, take care and have a wonderful week. Bye.